started going in his younger years. Always wished it would be his life.
Hey guys, as you can see, it's fall in Ontario, Canada, and the boating season's over, unfortunately. So we have to sit here for, 6 months and wait for boating season again. I'm just putting the boat away. It's all been winterized, and I have these moisture absorbers I'm going to put into the boat just to get rid of the moisture and the it'll get rid of the moisture and the odors and keep mildew and mold from building up in the boat over the winter. So what I thought I'd do actually is, now that the season's over, some people have been asking me kind of, what's my opinion of Rice Lake now that we've spent a season there, and how does it compare to the Bay of Quinte? So I thought I'd just take a moment to address that. So I thought I'd start with the Bay of Quinte first. So for those of you that have been following our channel, we spent about 2.5 years on the Bay of Quinte. Then we moved to Rice Lake, and we've just finished up our first season on Rice Lake. And the whole idea of our project is we wanted to spend a few seasons on a body of water, and then move to a new body of water to explore that, check that out. So we don't have a lot of body of waters under our belt yet to compare, but we have spent some time on the Kawartha Lakes, but most of our time has been spent on the Bay of Quinte and Rice Lake, so those are the two we'll compare. They're kind of apples and oranges because they're completely different, but sort of the question I was asked was, what is my opinion of Rice Lake, and is it worthwhile to come up there and put someone's boat in there for a season or two? So that's kind of what I'm going to look at. So with the Bay of Quinte, that is by far our favorite cruising ground so far. It's just so diverse. You have everything you want. You could spend countless seasons in the Bay of Quinte and not do the same thing twice. The beaches, it has lots of beaches, some of which are world-class beaches. Like you're talking Weller's Bay, Presqu'île, Sandbanks on West Lake. These are awesome beaches where you've got the wildness of Lake Ontario on the one side, which might as well be an ocean, and then you have the calmness of the bays on the other sides. So the beaches are the first thing that come to mind. Bay of Quinte has tons of anchorages, lots of anchorages, and some of the anchorages have conservation areas right on your doorstep, so you can do some hiking and stuff like that. World-class fishing. You have, out in the Lake Ontario, you have trout and salmon. On the Bay of Quinte side, you've got lots of bass, freshwater drum, pike, walleye, pickerel. So world-class fishing. You've got sailing regattas, you've got poker runs, lots of cool towns to visit, especially with Prince Edward County. You've got all the wineries and cider houses, lots of marinas. And speaking of marinas, the Trent Port Marina is by far one of the best marinas on the whole Trent Severn Waterway. And Trenton itself, everything's right there that you need, so that's real convenient. And the really cool thing about the Bay of Quinte is it's a great home base to go wherever you want. So if you want to go to Toronto for a week or a trip or whatever, you can go. If you want to go to the Erie Canal or stateside, you can cross the lake. You want to go up the Trent Severn Waterway, you can do that. If you want to go up the Rideau to Ottawa or Montreal, you can do that. If you want to go through the Thousand Islands in Kingston, you can do that as well. So it's such a big waterway, and it's just so diverse. So it's number one. So now to move to Rice Lake, it's night and day. It's quite a bit different. So now we talk about Rice Lake. It's apples and oranges. It's different, but it's still a great place to cruise. So what I would say as far as Rice Lake and how it's different than the Bay of Quinte is that it's a smaller cruising ground. So you lack the diversification that you would have on the Bay of Quinte. So there's less beaches. On Rice Lake itself, there's really not a whole lot of beaches. There's a beach by the marina. There's a few islands that have sandbars off them. But if you include Peterborough and Lakefield, Beaver Mead's an awesome beach, and Lakefield has its own beach as well. But they're certainly not anything near the caliber of the Bay of Quinte beaches. But you do have some beaches. Towns, there's not a lot of towns. If you're going north, you're looking at Peterborough and Lakefield, which are nice places with stuff to do. If you go west, you've got Bewdley, which is a small little village, but it's got some cool restaurants, as we've seen, and some bars. You've got Hastings, which is a nice little place, and then I guess if you go south, you've got Campbellford, Frankfurt. So, but yeah, just fewer towns, fewer beaches. The fishing's awesome. World-class fishing. The poker run was pretty cool. Less anchorages, but you have the locks. So you have the locks if you want to go all the way up to Lakefield or south to Trenton. You have lots of locks to tie up to for weekend getaways. And what I would say is I found Rice Lake to be, I felt it was a much safer cruising ground just because it was smaller. Like, you always saw, two shorelines on Rice Lake. And again, because you have all the locks to spend a night at, you're always tied up and safe. Whereas the Bay of Quinte is so big. And if you are on the side exposed to Lake Ontario, it can certainly change on you, and you'd want to be very careful of that. So that's the one thing I would say. Hastings is awesome as far as it has everything you need for provisioning, and I like it a little better than Trenton because everything's at your doorstep. Like, it's a walking distance away. Even the pump outs are right at your boat. There's no pump out dock you have to go to. There's no fuel dock, but that's not that big of an issue because the fuel dock is at Lang's Resort as you head out into Rice Lake, so it's not a big deal to go there. But no, Rice Lake it's a cool little spot, and what I really like is Peterborough Music Fest. So we have a video of us anchoring out and enjoying the concerts. So they do music concerts every Wednesday and every Saturday all summer. Some of the names are bigger than others, but you can go up there and spend a weekend anchored out, listening to the cool concerts. So that's a fun thing to do. So, the other thing I would mention is, especially for seasonal boaters that are putting their boat in for a slip, you're going to have your car with you. There's lots of cool stuff to do off the water in the Rice Lake area. You have music concerts, casino, you have, I think it's like 5 fairs from the spring through to the fall, car shows. There's lots of cool stuff like that. So if you are a seasonal boater, there's more stuff to do there's more things to do than just on the water. As far as diversity in that, we've stayed there for a season. We're going to stay there for one more season, I think. And then I think we will have done everything. So if you're the type of person that gets bored easily and, you want to try new things, you might only want to stay on Rice Lake for maybe a season or two. and then move on and try somewhere different. If you're the type of boater where you like the familiarity of, going to the same places and the comfort that comes with that, and you're just looking to go out for an afternoon for swimming or fishing or whatever, and then come back to the marina, you could do that, all the time, and, spend 5 years in Rice Lake and have a great time doing it. Okay? So, I would say for us, the other thing was that I've learned is with boating, it's not where you're boating, it's who you're boating with. And with Rice Lake, it allows us to have a lot of our friends and family on the boat, which makes it fun as well. So that's why we like Rice Lake, and that's one of the reasons we're going to stay for another year. So just, I would say, again, if you're asking me about Rice Lake and should I put my boat in there for a season, I would say go for it. It's cheaper. My boat's 30 feet, and it was $500 less than the Trentport. So it is cheaper. It's a smaller cruising area, and it's, less diverse than the Bay of Quinte. But there's still, having said that, there's still lots of things to do, lots of locks to see, and some locks, like Healy Falls. There's waterfalls there and a swimming hole, which make it so much fun. You've got, again, Peterborough Music Fest, which makes it really cool as well. And some of these locks have fire pits, and some of the anchorages are pretty cool as well. So I would say, yes, Rice Lake is great for a season or two. If you want to try new things, you're not going to want to stay much longer than that. But if you just want a fun place and you don't mind doing the same things over and over again, yeah, you could stay in Rice Lake for seasons. And so yeah, we like Rice Lake, and we would recommend checking it out.